opinion tonight.
Good evening. Lawmakers from the Republican and Democratic parties alike today condemned the Bush administration for not doing enough to protect this country from illegal aliens and terrorists. Members of Congress strongly criticized President Bush for the administration's failure to hire an adequate number of Border Patrol agents. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Robert Bonner admitted he does not have enough agents nor technology to secure our borders. Kitty Pilgrim reports.
Federal agents found this suspected smuggler's tunnel about 120 miles east of San Diego. It's 5 feet high, 3 feet across. It comes up in the United States, but it starts under a vacant house in Mexicali, Mexico. Border security was the topic of an emotional hearing on Capitol Hill today.
The border is tragically broken.
We've been talking about adding Border Patrol agents, I think, now for 6 years, and we have not reached the goals that we need to reach.
There simply are not enough Border Patrol agents. The Intelligence Reform Bill called for 2,000 new border agents every year for the next 10 years. But the President's 2006 budget only asks for enough funding for 210 new agents.
We beg you, as members of Congress, to give us those additional resources.
The father of a 23-year-old killed in 9/11 wondered when federal authorities will adequately fund border security.
Those 19 mass murderers counted on lax scrutiny of their visa applications and overwhelmed inspectors at our ports of entry. Then once here, the terrorists counted on being able to hide in plain sight in an ocean of over 10 million illegal aliens living in the United States.
The father of a 28-year-old Park Service ranger who was killed in a gun battle with drug smugglers on the border talked about the wide-open border fence.
It had terrible holes in it. The smugglers would just drive through it. They wouldn't even stop to take time to clip the wires. There was really no barrier. They just drove over it.
Now, the Canadian border was a particular focus in today's hearing. Only 1,000 agents patrol it, but it was pointed out if you take into account work shift rotations, they estimate fewer than 300 people are watching 4,000 miles of mostly wilderness at any one time. Lou?
And this is Homeland Security. Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. An astonishing illustration tonight of the federal government's apparent unwillingness to protect us from criminal illegal aliens. Police and federal agents in Suffolk County, New York, have arrested 27 illegal aliens convicted of sex crimes against children. Those illegal aliens, sexual predators, were tried and convicted in U.S. courts, but incredibly, they were never deported as the law requires. Bill Tucker reports.
The individuals arrested today preyed upon the most vulnerable in our society, our children. Many of the victims of those arrested today were between the ages of 6 to 12. And the oldest was 18.
The 27 men arrested by Suffolk County, New York police and agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Their crimes heinous by any measure, crimes for which each have been convicted. There is no question that each committed their crime while they were in this country illegally. There is also no question that after serving their sentences, they were supposed to have been deported, not released, back onto the streets of America.
Why were they released in the first place? I can't answer that question. What I'm saying is we are making sure that no one else slips through the cracks. We're looking at each and every person now.
The cracks that the detective refers to are created by poor coordination and communication between federal authorities and local police. Suffolk County is now working closely with Immigration and Customs Enforcement to cross-check the immigration status of any criminal under their arrest. If a computer check shows an illegal immigration status, ICE is alerted.
The days of Suffolk County, this county, looking the other way on illegal immigration when it comes to these types of crime are over.
The coordination between Suffolk County and federal agents is relatively new. It only began in December. The goal, to deport every criminal illegal alien when they are finished serving their sentences for their crimes. Unfortunately, deportation doesn't always mean much, nor do secure borders. Consider the case of a man on New York's Long Island, released from prison, deported to his country on December 9th of last year. This Valentine's Day, he was arrested in this country again. He is charged with the murder of the young girl he raped. Lou, he stabbed her to death in her apartment while she was holding the infant from that rape.
The crimes are heinous. The fact that the Suffolk County Sheriff would have to say that the days of his department looking the other way when it comes to illegal aliens are over, that's a remarkable statement.
Well, what has happened, Lou, unfortunately, is there's been poor coordination and communication between the federal authorities and the local police for a variety of reasons. And out in Suffolk County, clearly, they've gotten the wake-up call. And I spoke with police out there today, and they say coordination today is radically different from what it was even 2 months ago.
So there is an effort to improve that coordination and communication. And is the search now for sex crime perpetrators, these predators, is it now nationwide?
It is nationwide. It's a 20-month-old program, Lou, and today down in Washington they held a ceremony noting the 5,000th arrest of sexual predators. Most of those people involved in those arrests were illegal aliens.
Each, as you point out, required by law to be deported, but also, as you point out, deportation, no guarantee that they will not simply cross our porous borders again when they wish. Bill Tucker, thank you. In New Mexico today, 4 illegal aliens were killed. 9 others were injured as they were being smuggled into this country. 13 people were packed into a stolen sport utility vehicle. It flipped over just a few miles from the Mexican border. The SUV was fleeing a Border Patrol agent headed toward the border when the driver lost control. Later in this broadcast, I'll be talking with the leader of an immigration advocacy group, by the way, a group that's suing New York's Department of Motor Vehicles. That group accuses the DMV of the state of New York of discrimination because the DMV of the state of New York does not want to give illegal aliens driver's licenses. Also tonight, the head of the National Border Patrol Council will join us. He says the president's budget for border protection is nothing less than shameful. Border security will be a top issue at a summit meeting to be held later this month between President Bush, President Vicente Fox of Mexico, and Canadian Prime Minister Paul Martin. The White House today announced that meeting will be held March 23rd in Texas. Meanwhile, a new opinion poll shows that most Mexican illegal aliens in this country want to stay here and stay here indefinitely. The survey by the Pew Hispanic Center finds that 59% of Mexican illegal aliens either expect to stay in the United States for as long as possible or for the remainder of their lives. Only 27% say they expect to stay in this country for 5 years or less. And in another key finding, that Pew survey found that nearly 3/4 of Mexican illegal aliens support President Bush's plan for a temporary guest worker program, or amnesty, as many critics refer